Hello everyone, I'm Chris from Hornetsecurity, and today we will be going through the Flash to HTML control panel migration changes. Some of the most significant changes are accountability, the service dashboard, and email live tracking have completely new looks. The way you operate deny and allow lists, which have been renamed, has changed a little bit. Advanced Threat Protection has some new self-service options. The quarantine report, formerly known as spam report, has also been redesigned. And we have a completely new module called email authentication, which I'll also be showcasing. And then also just going through the changes to white labeling settings and customizing. So we talked briefly about the accountability in the agenda, and you really need to create individual accounts to use the new control panel. So if you do have any sort of company accounts or admin accounts that you use right now that aren't specifically tied to users, please create new users before new admin users with personalized logins before logging in. This is because of GDPR compliance here in Europe. Means that you have to have a personal account that you use for these kind of tasks that access other people's data. And also for audit compliance, it's a lot easier to find out who did what changes when it's not always just the same user doing all the changes. Okay, so here we have the new login page. You put in your user here and click on continue. And only after that will you get the password prompt. And also here you will have the password reset button in case that is needed. We need to make that short check there to just see what authentication method and server we should be contacting in case that you have LDAP, for example, enabled. And of course, we can't do the password reset for your systems. As you can also see from the performance, the upgrade to the control panel is not only visual, it's also been redone completely from the ground up in the backend as well. And this is the default view, the email live tracking for every user that comes in. As you can see, it looks a little bit different. It has colorized buttons. These are not only a legend, they also work as filter buttons. But before we get into all of that, I'd like to just briefly show you the manual, which is our documentation portal that all of you have various levels of access to. Like, for example, this is the partner level, and I have access to all of these. Here, there's, for example, not only all the information on how to use the control panel, but also how-tos that we've written for pretty much frequently asked questions from the support, like, for example, for Office 365, how to set up a forwarding connector in Microsoft 365 in a Microsoft 365 environment. So please have a look here if you have any functionality questions about the control panel, because it's very likely that it has already been documented here, and then you save yourself sending a ticket. So let's go back to the email live tracking. And this scope selection here is where you swap between being a normal user and an admin user. So here, for example, I have admin access to the two partners, Giovanni, which is our demo domain and partner, and the training and education partner. So we're going to go to Giovanni, and you can see here now that on the left side the menu changes, get some more options than what it previously had. And here, for example, under the service dashboard, you can see all of the subdomains and partners, subpartners that this one has, and also you can access the role management and contact roles here under the service dashboard. So here, for example, you can see my name, Aviko, as an admin for Giovanni. That means that I'm now an admin then also for all the subdomains as usual. And you can, with this add entry here, just add more admins. Since we are now here under the service dashboard, so let's create a new customer, just to show you that process again or as well quickly. So once we're here in the service dashboard with our main partner, on this main partner here on top, you go on the little gray arrow here and go add child. Now we'll be adding this as a sub-partner with their own admin with their own domain. So let's name this, for example, just Chris Testing. We'll use my own domain, and we can assign a third-party administrator immediately to it without having to ourselves first be admins somehow. So we can use the other admin, and this account doesn't even exist in the system yet. You have to fill in all of the fields in order for this to work. And then it will create now the sub-partner and the domain/customer and the admin mailbox or user, and assign that admin to the Chris Testing partner. You see the little green box down here saying it's been successful. And now to access that new domain, you can either search for it here in this search, or you can move between domains also up here. Both of the searches are the same. As you can see, they're very fast. You can also get to it by double-clicking on the account just here. Now, the reason there's no admin here is, of course, because it's on the sub-partner that we created. So in order to just show you also some actual traffic in the email live tracking, I'm just gonna use one of our demo domains. And here we can then actually see some emails. I'm just gonna select here a little bit of a bigger time frame to get some more samples. And now, for example, then if we would like to just see all the rejected emails in one go, you just double click on the button up here, and then it only displays all the rejected emails here. If you want to include another one, another category, like for example spam, you just left click on it, and then it will also add all the spam emails into the view. Then you can view information on the individual emails by clicking here on the right side arrow. Then there's all the normal manipulation stuff here, like add sender to deny or allow list, and report as info mail or deliver the mail. And under this info button, you see all the details of that mail. You can even view the raw header information straight here, and the SMTP codes. Also, if you want to do bulk manipulation, you just click on this button up here, and then you can select more mails to do mass manipulation on all of these mails. There's also the additional send to email to admin and mark as private buttons up here. And the search, of course, has a multitude of different tags that you can use. Like, for example, if it has an attachment and who the owner of the mail is. There's also an email preview function coming very soon, which will be an added button down here, and it will also be added in the quarantine report as a feature and a button to preview an email that has been quarantined. Next, we have the deny and allow lists. These have been renamed from the old names, and also they are now then separated as two separate lists. Let's use the other test domain just to show you a little bit of the entries as well. So here, one new feature as well that the Flash panel didn't support is that you can add IP addresses into the allow and deny lists. And here you can see all of the ones that have been denied for this domain and the allow list. If you want to edit a user's allow list, then you have to select that user from this search. So basically you have to enable the user search by clicking on this little green person here. And then let's, for example, just look for my lists. So this would basically now be me editing my allow lists and my deny lists. I haven't put any entries in here, so that's just why it's empty. Just disable that again and go back to where we started. And then we have the few self-service options that are really cool nowadays. So under, for example, advanced threat protection, you can add the real-time alert recipients, but you can now also activate and deactivate URL rewriting for the whole domain. And you can activate and deactivate the targeted fraud forensics filter. The targeted fraud forensics filter needs to be applied to a group of people. So just make sure that if you want to use this feature, the people need to be assigned in a group. The one thing that isn't here yet is the allow listing for URL rewriter. For the URL rewriter, for that you will still have to contact support, but that is the only thing now for ATP anymore. Then the quarantine report settings have changed a little bit, and there is now the possibility to also exclude things from being reported. So for example, you can completely exclude for normal users the reporting of threat and advanced threat mails or stuff that has been blocked by the content filter. There's also this new dropdown which enables the email preview or disables or enables the email preview functionality for the quarantine report. And like I said, to show you that we are actually also actively developing new things or new modules, so to say, to the control panel, we've added this new module called email authentication, which is for SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So you can see all your domains here, and you can activate and deactivate the features, add exceptions to which domains you don't want it to have working, and just to show you a little bit here that there is a lot of advanced options as well that you can choose. So it's a very granular thing that you can yourself set up the way that you want it to. I want to have it set up. And for example, if you are not entirely sure about what SPF checking and DKIM validation and signatures do, you can just click on this little eye here. It will take you directly to the section in the documentation portal, which describes all of the functionalities of these things. So really the manual is a good way to go nowadays, and all new features will always have also complete descriptions in the manual of how to use them. Last but not least, we have the whitelabeling, which in Giovanni's case also has the custom URL. This means that they will have their completely own control panel as well. This part, having an own URL, requires you also, of course, to have a CNAME entry in your DNS that points to us for this address. And then you can swap the primary colors, excuse me, and if it uses the dark theme or the bright theme. You have to, when you do this customization or white labeling, you have to put in all of these details in here, like the logo and fav icon and app icon, all of these things before you can click save. And even if you don't have a custom URL, you can still change all of these settings, and then the logo and the coloring will be applied to your quarantine report. So without the custom URL and the custom control panel, all of these are included in the normal service fees. The custom control panel URL, that costs extra, so please contact your salespeople for that. But if you don't use that and just everything else, like I said, then it also customizes the quarantine report. With under email information, you can customize the quarantine report more, so you can include your own details in there. Like, for example, this would all be sent then from Giovanni. You can put your own disclaimers in there, and our own phone numbers, contact supports for your help desk. And this support information here is the information that is shown up here on top. So for example, if then a user would happen to log into the control panel, this is what they would be seeing. So preferably you would put your contact details in there, that they contact your help desk and not us, because by default up here it says support@hornetsecurity.com. And maybe you don't want them to do that. That's it for me for today. Thank you for listening to this Flash to HTML migration presentation. I hope you've enjoyed it. Just as a small recap, so you need individualized users. The looks are very different, but improved, and all the functionality is there or has just been improved, and even some new stuff has been added. So please just have a look at it, and don't forget to have a look at the manual as well to maybe possibly save you some work. I hope that you've enjoyed, and have a nice day.